He's got a microphone on. Oh, boy. You can hear me now, can't you?
Good morning, everyone.
I think you put too much sound on.
It is July 5th, 2022. Happy Independence Day yesterday, everyone. We'll call the Wright County Board of Commissioners meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Nice to see everyone here. The first order of business is the minutes. And I do have one thing to call out that we missed last week, and that was to actually pass the resolution for the Farm Family of the Year. So we have a resolution, but we didn't actually vote on it, so.
Yeah, Madam Chair, we did go back in the course of preparing the minutes and noticed that we had omitted that. We had certainly spoken to it, but did not actually vote on it, so.
All right, so would this be a point that we could do that now, or should we do that?
I think it'd be easy
After.
to do that quickly now and wrap it up for the sake of the minutes.
All right,
I'll make a motion for the resolution to approve the Wright County Family of the Year of Lamberts.
I'll second that.
all right. Motion made by Commissioner Lyden, seconded by Commissioner Ketchmark. Any other discussion? Hearing none, a roll call vote. Commissioner Ketchmark.
Aye.
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 All right, resolution passes and, now we can breathe. All right, is there anything else in the minutes that anyone noticed?
Madam Chair,
Commissioner Ketchmark?
thank you. Page 10 of 14, third paragraph, starts out with Catchmark referencing the risk management starting pay of $27 per hour. Right after that, it should say that I noted that the starting pay for the .5 administrative specialist is $21 an hour. So if that can be just interjected in there, and then it can continue with the next sentence of he did not see.
Okay. All right,
I'll make a motion then to approve the minutes with the corrections.
I'll second.
motion made by Commissioner Delight, seconded by Commissioner Ketchmark to approve the minutes as corrected. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, the minutes are approved with that correction. And the consent agenda, or
No, we
excuse
got
me,
it.
agenda. Is there anything that need to be added or deleted?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve today's agenda as presented.
All right, motion made by
second it.
Commissioner Vetch, seconded by Commissioner Delyden. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Consent agenda, would anyone like anything removed for further discussion?
Madam Chair.
Mr. Ketchmark?
First thing is a claim number 809194 for $161,000 for clarification.
I'm sorry, what number?
It's claim 809194. And then under administration finance, clarification on one of the ARP allocations. And then under letter D, Sheriff's Office, jail, the request to extend the contract for inmate services for discussion.
All right,
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with those items removed.
I'll
motion made by
second.
Commissioner Delyden, seconded by Commissioner Ketchmark. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Consent agenda with those items are approved, rest of the items are approved. Commissioner Ketchmark?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the claim I noted this week, 809194 was for $161,506.65. Dental clinic construction, it notes it's from the fund or the account of 34-150-6602. And I know there was a vote to start the construction without the grant. I'm wondering about the choice of the 34-150, if that's considered kind of a catch-all CIP or for surplus type things, and if there's another CIP account that, since this is already identified as a dedicated project, that would be where it would be coded, but maybe, Lindsay, could you maybe clarify that, or? Did you need me to reference the numbers again, or?
No. Good
Okay.
morning, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Commissioner Catchmark. The 34-150, that is just a general capital projects fund. Funds have been levied through our budgeting process, and they are allocated by project. Does that answer your question?
Well, is there another capital improvement fund that is for specific projects?
This is assigned at that granular level. The amount has been assigned to that dental project.
Okay, so is there like a 34-170 though, that's also for more specific projects? Like this one seems to be, because it's identified and recognized.
34-150 versus 34-170. One of them had historical, more technology type funds, and the other had more building type funds. I'm not exactly sure how they are continuing to be used because we are levying for them as one bundle of funds. So if there was historical technology aspects to, sorry, Lee, do you recall which one was which offhand? 50 versus 170?
I do not.
It doesn't mean a whole lot to us from that finance perspective at this point because we are levying for all projects on the whole.
Okay,
We're not differentiating between whether they're technology projects or building projects at this point.
and this is a reimbursement type, if,
The grant itself, yes,
so we spend the money and waive the invoice and hope we get the
that's
money back.
correct.
Okay. All right, that's all I had on that, but thank you for explaining that.
And I think a lot of that comes from the history that we used to do, like technology CIP separate from the building CIP. And I don't know, there'll probably be a discussion point going into the future budgets, whether those get married into just one CIP line versus separating them out or not.
Agreed. We've had talks about it up in finance, but we have not made that decision to make that 100% shifted at this point yet.
This just drew my attention because of that, and I thought, well, it's a good time to bring it up, and it's 161,000.
Yep.
Okay, I think that was all for the finance part. So the next was the request for board action on ARP fund allocation. So on the top of the form, it lists where we gave money and how much. So we've got $1,009.95 to aid to nonprofit organizations. I think for the benefit of the board and the public, in the future, I would like to see what nonprofits we are giving to. What do you think?
Thank you, Commissioner Ketchmark. Apologies, normally I believe we do list which, who is the recipient of the grant, and I think inadvertently got left off this time, but this $1,009 grant went to 4-H. We have set aside about $63,000 for them, and they submit periodic reimbursements, and we pay them. So that's what this one was for some operating supplies for 4-H.
Okay, thanks for clarifying. I know that people watch this, and if you are a nonprofit and you're looking, you're wondering who's getting it maybe, and can I get some? But sorry I missed you on Friday, or I would have been able to
No worries.
answer it then.
Thank you.
And the next one is the contract to extend on the inmate services basically in the Wright County Jail. And what got my attention was the request for board action on the consent agenda, and it talked about focusing on finding housing and on employment for our inmates. And that was kind of the emphasis of what this was for. And as I'm trying to read through the 10-page contract and understand it, they're looking for another $80,000 for the third year of a $240,000 3-year contract. And I was looking for more I missed their staff on Friday because of scheduling with the holiday, but I did get a little more this morning to review. But I'm looking for more info on the breakdown of the service and the amounts, and if it's our staff providing. If you're a taxpayer, you're already paying to board these people in jail, and now we're asking for another 80,000 per year to provide more services. So I'm looking for more of a breakdown of what actually we're getting. And is anybody here to speak to this before I go in depth? Otherwise, we can schedule another time or table this until we get more information, but that'd be my thought.
And a lot of this, if I remember correctly, this was because the contract, it was just more renewing and the rates didn't change. And this was mostly when we originally came in, was to prevent recidivism rates, basically trying to keep those that get out from going back in by giving them the tools that they need. It's kind of, you spend a little and you save a lot more in the back end is the piece to it. And I know when we originally, was it a couple of years ago, we got a presentation on it and on the services that were provided. Maybe we need that presentation again because it was probably predates yourself and Commissioner Water.
Thank you. And I think in these times when you see emphasis on finding housing and employment, we all know, I just heard the other day, 2% unemployment in Minnesota, and you can drive up and down the road and see all the help wanted signs. So I'm kind of wondering what are we doing? What do we need to do with the job part, and how is that broken down amongst the 80,000? Are we giving them transportation on Trailblazer to go find work, or how much involvement do we have with staff in that?
Believe it or not, sorry, Madam Chair, a lot of it comes down to even just the ability to fill out an application, much less to create a resume, and then also to realize what skills they have to be able to find employment. A lot of these people really had nobody, no parents in their life to really hold their hand from a first job, much less a second, third, fourth job, to help them understand that this is the process you go through to get employment, and to get them to understand what does an interview look like. And a lot of those things, they fail even just the basic entrance pieces of it. So therefore, even in a great labor market like it is right now, where you can get jobs anywhere, they still can't get employment.
And this is largely the actually work release program. So the people that are incarcerated now, and they're, in this work release program, so they go out and do different jobs. I mean, they have the crew leader, and that costs, a certain amount of money. So this has been in place since I worked in the jail, way back. So that's largely, unless Attorney Kreiser has any more information, but that's largely the contract that we have, that, you have the crew leader, and that costs money, and the inmates also pay per day, to be on work release. So that's another component of that. So, yeah, we can certainly get more information about that, but
I think
Sure.
yes.
I'd also like to know some comparables for other counties that maybe do this or don't, because I see they put the stats here of how many people use the service and then how many people come back to custody, but what does that look like for other jails that use this or don't use it, just for comparison?
Madam Chair,
Yeah,
I'm a
Commissioner
little
Wright.
confused. I thought that we're paid by the state of Minnesota this amount, and this is just extending the contract. There is no changes at all in what we do, and I'm just not sure where the concern is, since it's been something that's been done forever. So I'm not quite sure, again, what your concerns are regarding this.
Madam Chair?
Yeah.
Well, and I had to read it a couple times to figure out the allocation, but was the 3-year contract that we're deciding on every year for a total of 240,000 of Wright County dollars, and this is the okay for the last third of that, so this is $80,000 of taxpayer dollars that goes to this? Or I guess I didn't read that DOC has given us money to pay for this program. Did I misunderstand it? or-
The $60 per day, is it?
Yes, I see $60 per day under revision 2, clause 3.
But the state will pay $60 per day per state offender participating in the government unit's work release program and $21 per day per offender on Phase 2, electronic monitoring GPS for participating in the contractor's work release program, inclusive of date of arrival, not inclusive of date of departure. Payment will be consistent with the fiscal section of the work release program guideline manual.
That's,
Doesn't include additional reimbursement for travel and subsistence expenses incurred by the government unit in the participation or performance, excuse me.
So again, I don't think this is us paying, this is them, the state paying us.
Madam Chair, I think even statutorily, I mean, it would be, I don't even think we could allow them to not be able to get work release. I mean, I don't know. Just because, I mean, that's why it's funded through the state, is so that people can, that are, meet the requirements, can go out and work while they're serving their time, so they can actually pay back what their obligation for the boarding.
And this has helped with county projects too. So they've, you know, gone out and done projects essentially in the county that we would have to have hired people to do those projects otherwise.
Or to maintain employment, well, some of these people,
Right.
so they don't lose their employment while they're in, so some people can
Yeah,
actually
in the
keep their job.
Work release, yeah.
Yeah, work release,
Work
so-
release, yep.
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion to approve this and the other ones that were taken from the consent agenda.
I'll second that.
All right, motion made by Commissioner Delyden, second by Commissioner Vetch. Any questions?
Madam Chair, I think with the little bit of hesitation we have up here, I don't think it'd hurt to get more clarification of where that 80,000 comes from specifically, and the breakdown of the service. I would be in favor of the approving the other two, but not this one without a little more information.
Madam Chair, I'm quite comfortable moving forward, having, just looking at again, and just over the weekend and what I've seen from it, and where the money's coming from is largely the state, and the other part of it, any part of our side of it is,
The inmates themselves are paying.
yep,
to
paying
get
the other
work
part of it.
release.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
to his point, since we, us three, had gotten some information, a little presentation about this at one time, maybe it wouldn't hurt at one of our next meetings.
want to put on the workshop?
Workshop, thank you. To have a discussion, if, whether it's this next week or the week, next month, depending on the availability of the sheriff's department. And that way, they can understand what we all do over there.
All right, well, first we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Those three items on the consent agenda. Any more discussion?
So,
Hearing none,
Madam
all-
Chair, just for clarity, I mean, I think we could still move forward with it and still have the education of the program itself. I mean, because I think there's a couple different programs, and I apologize, I had a few mistaked in there, but this is the work release program, and
Right.
that one, but there's other ones that we have from training and other side of it, of employment too, that we could just holistically.
Yeah, and I was kind of getting the two programs a little
Exactly, I was
mixed up.
too.
So, yep,
And Madam Chair, and again, I tried my best to catch up to the rest of the board because of holiday staffing, we couldn't connect on Friday, otherwise would be a different story today, so it's, you know, in comparison, we give the county fair 75,000 and we take some in-depth looks at where that money goes also, so, so where are we at with,
the motion is to approve all of them, and if Commissioner Delyden, if you wanted to add on to your motion that we send this item to a workshop for,
We'll be
Further
discussing
discussion?
workshops later in the meeting. We can discuss it at that
all
point.
right. You okay with that?
Yeah,
All right.
I just.
Yes.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. All right, moving on to our timed items. Are you standing in for Tyler? All right, welcome, Lindsay.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. This morning, I have a request for board action to establish the canvassing board for our state primary. The primary will convene on August 12th at 1 p.m. And I also need you to appoint 2 members from your group who are not going to be on the ballot. So you've got 4 options.
Madam Chair, I will put my hand up for interest into it. Just having gone thus far into a lot of education, the educational process, and I want to be able to firsthand be able to answer questions post the election and ongoing in the years going forward with it as to how this election came out and the things that we did to build integrity to it, and this is one of them, so I would raise my hand for that participation.
Yeah, Commissioner Delight and I were on at least 2 together. Yeah, it's a good process. It's,
Commissioner
Madam Chair?
Ketchmark, do you have interest?
I do. I was just waiting my turn.
okay, all right.
I'll
well,
make a motion to approve Commissioner Vetch and Commissioner Ketchmark for the canvas board to convene on August 12th at 1 p.m.
All right. Motion by Commissioner Delight, and is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Commissioner Ketchmark. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. That board is set.
Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
Lindsay.
All right, items for consideration. Approve a resolution dissolving the Central Minnesota Economic Development 7W District Joint Powers Agreement. So that, they've, according to the value stream, okay, go ahead, Clay.
Yeah, Madam Chair and
Take it away.
Commissioners. So essentially what this is this group was initially formed via a JPA, but as they've gone on, they've realized that that JPA isn't necessary to do the work that is required of the group, and they would like to shift this to more of a staff work group. So they'll be accomplishing the same work. It's just going to come with a less administrative duties that are required under that JPA. It'll save time and save staff resources. So with that, we're looking just for that resolution to approve the dissolution of that JPA, which is something that it sounds like most of the other counties either have done or have on their agendas to do as well.
So, Madam Chair, and this is largely just to come up with a SEDS plan. So, just for those of it that didn't read this.
I'll make a motion to approve the resolution dissolving the Central Minnesota Economic Development 7W District Joint Powers Agreement.
I'll second that.
Motion made by Commissioner Delight and seconded by Commissioner Vetch. Any more discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote. Commissioner Delight?
Aye.
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 All right, resolution passes. Thank you, Clay. All right, appointment of the aggregate ordinance work group, and I understand that we've got some people selected. There was a number of, you went through applications and came up with our list.
Madam Chair?
Yeah, Commissioner Ketchmark.
Thank you. So staff collected the names of interest, and Commissioner Wetter and I met last week and went over the names, and as directed, we picked the representatives from the different groups, and there wasn't a lengthy list overall, but we hope that it'll be as fair and balanced as possible, and if anyone's got anything they want to discuss about the process or what we did, I'm more than happy to discuss it, but I hope it goes well for the commissioners that are on that work group going forward.
And do you have a date of when you might be
Well,
meeting?
that's for Commissioner Vetch and Deline.
Yeah, I think we were getting through this process and then we were gonna actually solidify a date. So now that we have this, so the recommendations then were for the township representations. You have somebody from Middleville and Buffalo Township. That's correct, right?
Right, correct?
Yes.
Yep.
And then you have, from an operators, you have a Knife River and MBE
Correct.
are the operators. And then from the planning commission, you have Mr. Bravender and Ms. Griniger is.
Yes.
correct? Okay. So,
All right.
Madam Chair, I appreciate the other two commissioners independently of the gravel group choosing these. So again, it's as independent as possible. And I do hope that we can get some dates set up, and I'd like to do more than just one. Get it set up, a few of them right away, so that we can start moving forward with this. Barry, do you have any concerns or any suggestions on particular dates? Because I'm assuming you guys will have to be there too, and I don't know if we want to do it late afternoon, during the day, early evening.
Dates, not really. I don't have any suggestions at this time. You know, Tuesdays are usually pretty full for everybody, but outside of that, we can usually work around and make something work. And then there's also gonna be a fairly large, or at least some staff from administration as well, so we'll have to coordinate with administration on whatever dates we choose. They're gonna be taking the minutes and assisting with agendas and mailings and those types of things.
Well, they'll work Saturdays too, so.
Madam Chair, so Commissioner Dahlheiten, are you thinking about starting like the week of the 11th? Or are you thinking about starting the week of the 25th?
Well, it would have to be on the 11th, because after that, I'm gone. I'll be out in Washington DC.
Yeah, so then I guess we're looking at either, so,
I'm taking the third week in July, the 23rd, week of the 23rd. And like I said, I'd like to get
so
the,
let's look for maybe something the 25th, 26th, 27th. We can get going right on it there.
yeah, I don't know if we want to do a Google poll for multiple dates. I don't know. Mr. Kelly, do you have any suggestions?
I think any of those could work. Of course, Tuesday the 26th would be a board meeting. You'd have to look at the afternoon there. Also, the 27th would be a committee day, so that may be an afternoon if you were looking to work around that. But
Ideally, would say if we can go something on the 27th or 28th, Wednesdays or Thursdays, just, I just know from the things that I'm sitting on from energy transition and such, Mondays and Tuesdays are pretty full on my plate, so.
Okay. Are we intending on having our attorney present, Greg? Are you planning on being in those balls? I am. Okay, good. So that way you can steer us in the right direction right away.
So you're not looking at the.
Now
week
let
of
us
the
do
18th.
anything that's illegal.
You're not looking at the week of the 18th, you're looking at the last week of July?
I think we're looking at the last week. I think there's some conflicts between having the staff availability, the weeks, the 11th and the 18th. So we're gonna look at I'll look for staff to come back with some sort of a recommendation on the 27th or 28th to get the first meeting kicked off, and we can kind of poll the group at that point. And once they all are in here as to what's the best time fits everybody collectively ongoing.
All right. So do we have a motion for the appointment of the area ordinance work group,
I'll make a motion to approve the area, or the
the reps?
work group.
All right. Motion made by Commissioner Lyden. Is there a second?
No second.
Second by Commissioner Ketchmark. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thank you. Refer items to the county board workshop next week already. And we have Central Minnesota Jobs and Training Annual Update, the ERP update, and compost site update. Is there anything else that,
Yeah, Madam Chair, the earlier thing we discussed regarding the DOC and work release,
Okay.
some information regarding that and
all right,
and how that all functions and
see if
who's paying what and kind of how
Captain
it
O'Malley
works.
can
Yep.
come and give us a briefing on that.
And then I'd also like on next week, Tuesday, to have a discussion regarding the campus, signage, entrance. I don't know if anybody else has noticed it, but I think they made that entrance a little narrow. And it's all, vehicles are pulling over the curb over there. I don't know. I think it needs to get widened or something, but it looks like a mess down there. On the entranceway, for the main entrance.
Oh, the main entrance?
Yeah, I think they made it a little too narrow. I don't know if there's trucks or what the deal is, or vehicles with trailers, but yeah, it doesn't look good. And then maybe some signage and stuff too to figure out. I know there's still a lot of people stopping at the highway department.
Yeah. It's gonna take a while before people recognize which turn to go into, for sure.
All right.
All right. Is that
I guess we don't need any kind of
workshops?
motion on that.
Is that- Yeah.
Madam Chair, regarding the compost site update, have they gotten a final done from our engineering?
We will have an update from Stantec, yes.
It's not the final yet, or?
I believe they're coming with the recommendations from the US for some follow-up on the 3 different ideas that were brought from last time. So that's what they're going to bring forward.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right. Sounds good. All right, advisory committee, advisory board updates. Commissioner Wetter, would you like to start?
I have nothing to report, Madam Chair.
Commissioner Vetch?
So last week, we had the another Central Mississippi Regional Planning Partnership meeting, kind of taking the next steps after having had MnDOT and FHWA out to talk about the roadmap to a river crossing, and now kind of circling back as to looking as a group in, I guess, having very broad scope of things that we're going to do, and now taking it back to more of a narrow scope of being more of a transportation group versus more of a holistic planning side of it. I think because there was some thoughts that we needed that information and to be able to go into the NEPA process. There's some truth to that we needed some of it, but not to the degree that that we had with the Framework 2030 put out for a work plan. So we're narrowing that back down and then talking about more of discussions. Do we continue on as a joint powers agreement, or do we morph into a 501c3 coalition? And then also having some discussions about who's going to be the RGU, which is the local government, or the LGU, the local government
Unit.
authority. So are so Tracy deciding if it's gonna be Sherburne or Wright County, because on projects like that, when you go into the NEPA process or the Pella process, you have the local government unit, one or the other be the head on it, and whether it would be Wright County or Sherburne County, but more to come on that. So that's all I have.
Yeah, just a couple of things. We had our Economic Development Authority meeting last week, and that went well. And they also had the Well at Work open house, so the Health Partners Clinic, and some of us were there for the ribbon cutting, and so I don't know how many people came throughout the day, but it's a very nicely set up clinic, so people should utilize it, hopefully, because the cost of the exams is about a fifth of what I paid in my clinic. Commissioner Blyden,
I've got nothing.
okay? Mr. Ketchmark,
Madam Chair, just briefly, we had a employee work group meeting last week to go over employee retention and recruitment type matters in the county. A lot of ideas are being floated around, a lot of good participation.
Madam Chair?
yes.
When's the county fair?
That's a good point. July 20th through the 24th.
Good answer.
And there's some more books out at the front counter. There's some interest, so we threw some more out there. Limited edition.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Kelly,
All right, and kind of covered the items I was going to say, just make mention of the Well at Work Clinic, and that's been spoken to, so hope everyone had a good 4th. I know it's celebrated very vigorously in Wright County, so I was in Annandale partaking yesterday, so it was a great time.
did you go to the Annandale celebrations? Yeah, good. All right, Well, if there's nothing else that needs to come before the board, we are adjourned at 9:35, and we have leadership at 10:30.